While this is taking place, Britney Griner comes out and says, I am so sick and tired of the NBA, the WNBA. It used to be a peaceful, small little thing. Now there's crowds screaming, hollering. This is disruptive. It's not allowing us to play the game. This is her quote. I don't know if you saw this one. I want to give that.
Patrick Bet-David just dropped one of the harshest reality checks ever on his podcast. Britney Griner's controversial comments about Caitlin Clark and racial undertones sparked a heated conversation that had everyone buzzing.
From 41. What the hell is going on with WNBA that they cannot handle all this attention that they're getting, as well as the hate and anger?
But PBD shut it down instantly. He brought up Griner's time in a Russian prison and tore apart her complaints about crowd noise. The clapback was absolutely savage, leaving people debating what was more satisfying, him reminding her of the prison ordeal or breaking down why she should be thankful the WNBA even gets this much attention.
I bring out that part with you. Britney Griner, what she says, right there, watch it. Every time we play her, there's this commotion, like this loud rumbling from the stands. Turns out it's people, thousands of them, just sitting there watching.
Let's be real about what went down on Patrick Bet-David's podcast. Britney Griner just got hit with the reality check of her life. While she was busy griping about crowd noise and slipping in subtle racial digs at Caitlin Clark, PBD wasted no time reminding her of some uncomfortable truths she seemed to have forgotten after her break from basketball. It all kicked off with Griner's outrageous claim that the WNBA used to be so quiet you could literally bring a laptop and get work done during games. Just think about that, a professional athlete actually complaining that fans are too loud and too involved at sporting events. The entitlement is shocking. And the irony only gets heavier when you consider exactly who's making these complaints.
It used to be a chill, quiet place. You could bring your laptop and relax, maybe even get a little work done. But now, it's like there's large gatherings of people watching us from the stands. Some of them are yelling crazy shit about what they're seeing, putting unfair pressure on us to score like we're there for their entertainment. You are! The whole thing is toxic. I saw a guy with his daughter in the crowd, both of them yelling, couldn't hear what they were saying exactly, but it was either my performance or some light racism.
Griner literally claimed that WNBA games used to be calm and quiet, but now there are bigger crowds in the stands, some of them actually yelling about what they're watching. She went as far as to say it created unfair pressure on her to perform, as if she somehow forgot that professional sports exist *for entertainment. Here's the reality check. Britney, yes, you are there to entertain. That's the whole point. But what really crossed the line was her comment about seeing a father and daughter in the crowd yelling. She admitted she couldn't even hear what they said, yet she jumped straight to assuming it was either criticism of her play or, unbelievably, light racism. Light racism, that's the phrase she used to describe fans cheering at a basketball game. The fact that her first thought went there says everything about where her mindset is right now. Patrick Bet-David didn't mince words in response. He reminded everyone that not long ago, Griner was sitting in a Russian prison on serious charges and only made it back home because the U.S. pulled off a high-stakes prisoner swap, one that freed a notorious arms dealer known worldwide as the Merchant of Death.
Britney Griner is in a Russian prison. You would think that somebody who is now free, back in America, on home soil, would not have too much to complain about. Especially something like this.
The deal that secured Griner's release was no small trade. It involved handing over Victor Bout, a convicted arms dealer notorious for aiding terrorists and plotting to kill Americans. That's the man the U.S. government let go in exchange for bringing Britney Griner home.
It doesn't matter what sport you are. It doesn't matter what sport you pick. That's how fans act in every arena. In every arena. So, and then when you clearly she's not remembering who they let out to get her back for the American soul. The Merchant of Death, an arms dealer that wanted to kill American citizens.
And after all that, Griner's big response to being back on American soil, free, playing the game she loves, in front of fans who are finally showing up, is to complain about the noise. PBD's takedown was harsh, but it was also right on target. You'd expect someone who survived imprisonment in a foreign country to have a whole new outlook on freedom and opportunity. Instead, Griner seems bothered by fan excitement, seeing it as disruptive instead of inspiring. a sign of how out of touch she's become with reality and gratitude. What makes her comments even harder to swallow is the timing. The WNBA is in the middle of unprecedented growth, with the league on track to hit $1 billion valuation for the first time in its history. And that surge is largely thanks to Caitlin Clark, whose arrival has brought mainstream attention women's basketball has never seen before. That's what makes Griner's complaints so insulting. She's criticizing the very thing that's putting more money in her own pocket. The crowds, the energy, the engagement, those translate directly into higher revenue, better TV deals, and bigger salaries for every single player. And then there's the racial angle. Griner's undertones highlight a deeper issue. Some players resent that Clark, a young white star, is receiving the spotlight that black players have struggled to get despite years of dominance. PBD didn't dodge this. He admitted Clark's race may play a role in the level of attention, but he also stressed that she earns it through her game. Clark was already finishing fourth in MVP voting in just her second year. She's electric to watch, her style works perfectly on TV, and she has that fiery edge casual fans can't resist.
NBA says they want to get paid more. They're saying this year they're going to make $1 billion. That's what they're saying, okay? For the first time ever. Now that Caitlin Clark is first in 2 weeks, did you see ticket prices? Insane. Let me read you the ticket prices. After Caitlin Clark's referred for 2 weeks. All right? So let's go through this. Caitlin Clark's absence is having an immediate impact beyond the court. According to data shared by Yahoo Sports via TickPick, prices for 2 specific Indiana Fever away games against the Chicago Sky and the Washington Mystics dropped sharply after Clark was cited. Before the injury, the lowest ticket available for Fever's matchup in Chicago was $86. For the game in Washington, fans needed at least $41 to get it. After the news of Clark's absence, those get-in prices fell to $25 from $86 and $14.
The ticket price numbers PBD laid out on the podcast say it all about who's really fueling the WNBA's rise. The moment Caitlin Clark went down with an injury, Fever ticket prices tanked overnight. In Chicago, they fell from $86 to $25. In Washington, they dropped from $41 to $14. That's not just a dip, it's a full-blown market collapse when the main draw disappears. Against that backdrop, Griner's complaints about crowd noise sound even more ridiculous. For nearly 25 years, WNBA games were played in high-empty arenas where players faced no real pressure, no expectations, and no accountability to paying fans. Clark's arrival flipped that dynamic on its head, and it's clear some veterans weren't ready for the change. Griner describing the old WNBA as a place where you could bring a laptop and get work done during games perfectly explains why the league struggled for so long. Too many players treated games like casual scrimmages instead of professional events meant to entertain. That mindset is exactly why the WNBA lost money for 25 straight years. PBD's response landed hard because he refused to let Griner deflect with victimhood or racial framing. He grounded the conversation in facts. She was freed from a Russian prison, returned home through an unprecedented prisoner swap, and now gets to play basketball in front of paying crowds as the league experiences record growth. And yet her reaction is to complain that fans are too engaged. PBD's comparison to other sports drove the point home. NBA, NFL, MLB, and NHL athletes all deal with deafening crowds, hostile road environments, and fans who live and die with every play. That's not a burden, it's part of the job. Griner's attitude suggests WNBA players should enjoy all the perks of pro sports, money, recognition, and a platform, without the responsibility of performing under pressure. That's just not how it works anywhere in the sports world. The Russian prison reference was particularly cutting because it exposed just how tone-deaf her complaints are. Someone who endured actual oppression and loss of freedom should be the last person whining about fans being too loud at basketball games. Finally, PBD touched on the resentment some WNBA players feel toward Clark's meteoric rise. He acknowledged that it's natural to feel overlooked when someone else grabs the spotlight. But he reminded listeners that this has always been the case when transcendent stars show up. The Michael Jordan comparison fit perfectly. Other players hated the attention Jordan got, and the Pistons even created the Jordan rules to knock him down. But all of that happened because his impact was undeniable, not because the media propped him up unfairly. Clark's situation is the same. Her talent and star power are what's driving the shift, whether her critics like it or not.
And she wreaks havoc. She's the rookie of the year. She's fourth in the league in MVP voting. Fourth in the league. Her rookie year, outstanding. She's like Steph Curry. She can pull up from anywhere. You understand? She has that kind of capability. Didn't win a national championship. Lost to LSU one year. Lost to South Carolina another year. But she's outstanding and clearly worthy of being the number 1 overall pick. And what I was saying to everybody is rising tide lifts all boats. The girl is spectacular. It's not like she's not a scrub. She's not only can play, she's a star caliber player who draws this attention. And maybe it's because that fan base that she has and her being a young white lady.
With Clark, the story is crystal clear. The attention she draws isn't hype, it's measurable. Ticket sales, TV ratings, merch revenue, social media engagement, those are hard numbers proving her value to the league. That's why Griner's complaints about racial undertones and crowd reactions land so poorly. Assuming the worst about fans, like believing a father and daughter cheering must somehow be racist, reveals a mindset searching for problems instead of appreciating opportunities. The podcast made it obvious that many WNBA players weren't prepared for what real mainstream success looks like. For decades, the league operated in a bubble with minimal criticism, low expectations, and no real accountability. Clark's arrival ended that. Suddenly, players faced scrutiny, pressure, and consequences, things every other professional sport has always dealt with. PBD's focus on gratitude cut the deepest. He contrasted Griner's time in a Russian prison with her current reality, free in America, playing basketball, making more money than ever, and performing in front of engaged fans. That's not a burden, it's a gift. Complaining about enthusiastic crowds when the league's financial future depends on them is short-sighted at best. If players like Griner succeed in driving casual fans away with negativity, the WNBA risks sliding back into the irrelevance of half-empty arenas and years of financial losses. Her timing couldn't have been worse. Just as the WNBA is experiencing record growth and projecting billion-dollar valuations, Griner chose to harp on imagined problems instead of embracing the benefits. PBD's business background gave him the perfect lens. He knows revenue comes from satisfied customers. Fans are the customers. Complaining about their excitement is like complaining about too much money in the bank. It shows a fundamental misunderstanding of professional sports economics. He drew smart parallels to other entertainment industries, too. Musicians don't whine about concertgoers being too loud. Actors don't complain that audiences are too invested in their performances. Entertainment thrives on energy. If anything, a silent arena is a death sentence. Griner's belief that WNBA players should get all the perks of stardom without the accountability that comes with attention just isn't grounded in reality. The racial angle she raised is especially tricky because it touches on real societal issues. But as PBD pointed out, using that as a shield against market realities only weakens the conversation. Clark's success isn't about favoritism, it's about measurable impact. PBD handled that balance well. He acknowledged race as a factor but refused to let it overshadow the undeniable numbers. And then came the harshest reminder, the prisoner exchange. The US literally traded away a convicted arms dealer, the merchant of death, to secure Griner's release. That kind of international negotiation underscores how valuable her freedom was. To come back from that and gripe about cheering fans shows a staggering lack of perspective. Someone who truly grasped what they'd been through would be grateful for every moment on the court and every supporter in the stands. PBD's bigger message was simple: appreciation matters. The WNBA struggled for 25 years to matter. Now that it finally has a spotlight, players should be embracing the moment, not tearing it down. His response hit hard because it voiced what so many were already thinking, that Griner's mix of entitlement, ingratitude, and misplaced accusations needed a reality check. And Patrick Bet David delivered it.